All right, let's discuss what Trump and RFK are doing to our food, our water, and our air. In the food section, they fired 3,500 people from the FDA. That's 1 in 5. The agency that stands between you and contaminated food. But they got money for Israel. USDA lost nearly 900 people. And most of these people came from the investigations unit. These are the people who, figure out where this contamination is coming from. Who sold it, who's got it, which lot numbers, right? That was number 2. Number 3, there was a rule ready that would have made chicken with dangerous levels of salmonella illegal to sell. The industry got mad, so that rule went away. Foreign food inspections are in the historic lows. Now that's berries, spices, what else? Shrimp. Nobody's checking. States usually do the inspection of food in this country on federal money. That money got slashed. Outbreak rapid response teams was slashed by 60%. Produce inspections was slashed by 40%. So the next time there's an outbreak, there's going to be a shortage of resources at the state level to help you figure out where it came from, what's contaminated, all of that. But we got money to bomb Iran, right? Who wasn't bothering us. I digress. The traceability rule. The system that allows investigators to trace contaminated food to its source in days rather than weeks, because, you could die from some of that, was pushed back to 2028. So the traceability rule was pushed back to 2028. Okay. They suspended quality control for the labs that test our food and paused improvements to the bird flu testing in dairy during a bird flu era. Okay. Federal scientific advisory committees on food safety, like meat, poultry, microbiology, was just eliminated. Not reformed, just erased. And last year, the FDA managed to identify the source in barely a third of the outbreaks that it investigated, which is deadly listeria and pasta meals, babies hospitalized with botulism in their formula. Yeah, those are the 9 things he did in the food industry. All right, now let's move to air. In February, they repealed the endangerment finding that in 2009, there was a scientific determination that greenhouse gases threaten human health. That finding is a legal foundation under every climate protection rule we have. When you pull that, the house comes down. That's finalized. It's in court, but that's been done. That same rule repealed every greenhouse gas standard for cars and trucks. So the single biggest source of emissions in America, manufacturers now have zero obligation or control to even report them. That came from that rule. They repealed the updated mercury protections from power plants. Mercury, as we know, is a neurotoxin that damages babies' brains, developing brains. It damages them. So we fought for decades to get it out of the air. And they just put the old weak rules back. Okay. And before that repeal even finished, Trump personally exempted 68 coal plants from the standards by presidential proclamation using a national security loophole for mercury. Okay. And now they are moving to kill the power plant climate rules entirely with a straight face, right? Claiming that power plants do not contribute significantly to dangerous air pollution. Okay, that's the air. And now what he's doing to our water. We had finally gotten the first ever national limits on forever chemicals in drinking water. Chemicals that are linked to cancer found in the blood of every American. They're now moving to erase 4 out of the 6 forever chemicals and give utilities to 2031 on the other 2, right? So just erase those limits for the first 2 kinds, for the first 4 kinds of forever chemicals, and then give the utility companies up until 2031 on the other 2. Another 5 years of drinking it. Okay. They're rewriting the definition of waters of the United States, which is bureaucratic language for deciding which streams and wetlands fall under the Clean Water Protection Act. Once you shrink that definition, you shrink the protection overall. And they're rolling back the rule requiring coal plants to treat their toxic wastewater before it hits our rivers. And these rivers, take care of, or they're the source of water for towns downstream. And they're cutting the program that helps small rural communities, a lot of them poor, a lot of them people of color, to even be able to afford clean water and sewage systems. And then the final thing, this is number 19, they dissolved the EPA's Office of Research and Development, the agent's entire independent scientific arm. So that's over thousands of chemists, biologists, and toxicologists gone. Because if nobody's measuring what's in your food, air, or water, then you can't prove that it came from that, which is basically a cover-up. Just thought you should know.